Welcome to the Night Crew podcast, where shadows breathe and monsters listen. I'm your host, Brad Ricks. We've been talking vampires for a while, but it's time to change. And with that, I'm also going to change up the format just a hair. Sit back and enjoy the ride. The forest swallowed the path behind her like a mouth closing. Her flashlight cut a narrow tunnel through the trees, but everything beyond it was black and endless. The September air smelled of pine and damp soil, each breath a pale ghost in the cold. She hadn't meant to stay at the cabin so late. One beer turned to 2, then 3. Now she was miles from home, alone, walking the Blackwood Trail at midnight. She froze. The beam of her light swung back and forth, catching nothing but trunks slick with moonlight. The night answered with a deep silence, so deep it felt alive. She forced a laugh. It's the deer, she whispered to herself. Just deer. Then it came. A long, low howl that started as a rumble and climbed until it scraped the stars. This wasn't a coyote's yip or a neighbor's dog. It was something older. The flashlight trembled in her hand. She walked faster, each step loud in the carpet of leaves. The woods seemed to lean inwards as if listening. Another howl, closer, followed by the soft thud of paws on earth, heavy, deliberate. Her breath shortened. She clicked the flashlight off, plunging herself into complete darkness, hoping invisibility might save her. Now every smell sharpened, every sound huge. She could hear her own heartbeat. A growl rolled through the trees, low enough to vibrate her ribs. No wolves lived in this part of the state. Everyone said so. But whatever circled her didn't care about the field guides. Something darted to her left, fast. She spun and caught a flash of eyeshine, amber, too high off the ground for any normal animal. The next howl erupted so close she felt its heat on her neck. Panic shattered her stillness. She bolted, branches whipping her arms, lungs on fire. Behind her, paws hammered the earth in perfect rhythm with her heart. The trees began to thin. Ahead, a slice of moonlit meadow. She burst out of the woods just as another growl split the night. Then, silence. She collapsed in the grass, chest heaving, staring back at the black wall of forest. Nothing emerged. Only the full moon stared down, pale and unblinking. She waited, listening to her pulse and the endless quiet. A single distant howl rose again, long and deliberate, not retreating, not chasing, just promising. Tonight, we're hunting one of the oldest and hairiest monsters of them all, the werewolf. Half human, half wolf, 100% nightmare fuel. From ancient Greek curses to medieval witch trials and modern movie magic, werewolves have been running wild in our imaginations for thousands of years. So, grab your silver bullets, lock the door, and let's run with the pack through the blood-soaked history of werewolves. Long before Hollywood screamed at the full moon, the werewolf was already prowling through legend. Let's start in ancient Greece. The story goes that King Lycaon of Arcadia decided to test Zeus, the king of the gods. How was he going to do this? Well, by serving him a feast of brace yourself, human flesh. Zeus was not impressed. With a flash of lightning and divine fury, he cursed Lycaon to become a wolf. That's where we get the word lycanthropy, which literally means the condition of the wolf. But Greece wasn't alone. Far to the north, Norse warriors known as Ulfeldnor, which translates to wolf coats, and I apologize, y'all know how I am with pronunciations, believed they could draw on a wolf's spirit in battle. They wore wolf pelts, howled like beasts, and fought with terrifying ferocity. Some tales insist that these berserkers didn't just act like wolves, they became them. And across the world, from Siberian shamans to indigenous Arctic peoples, stories of people merging with animal spirits were widespread. Sometimes it was sacred, journeys of power and wisdom. Other times, a curse. So from the very beginning, the werewolf wasn't only a monster. It was a symbol of transformation, a tapping into primal instincts we humans can barely contain. But as the centuries turned and Christianity spread across Europe, those wild ideas started to darken. By the Middle Ages, the wolf was no longer a noble spirit guide. To church authorities, the wolf meant sin, chaos, and the devil himself. This fear burst into real violence. Take the infamous Beast of Gévaudan in 18th century France. It's a French word. I suck at saying those. My apologies. So between 1764 and 1767, something huge and wolf-like terrorized the countryside, killing scores of people. Villagers described a monster with a chest like a horse and teeth like daggers. The French king even sent royal hunters. To this day, no one can prove exactly what the beast was. Some say a giant wolf, others a hyena, or something supernatural. And then there were the werewolf trials. Yes, actual trials. Spreading panic, much like the witch hunts did. One of the most notorious cases was Peter Stumpf of Germany, and that was in 1589. Authorities accused him of making a pact with the devil and transforming into a wolf to attack livestock and people. Under torture, he confessed, as one would, to horrors beyond belief and was executed in quite a gruesome public spectacle. Villagers weren't helpless, though. Folklore did describe some defenses. First, probably the most well-known, silver bullets or knives to pierce the monster's heart. There was also, church bells were actually known to break the curse, and even possibly exorcisms. Although I would hate to see the exorcist who can hold down a werewolf to perform the ritual. Imagine living in a time when a single howl at night could send an entire village clutching silver and holy water. That is the fear that these legends inspired. Now, not everyone believed in literal monsters. By the Renaissance and early modern period, some physicians began looking for natural explanations. There's clinical lycanthropy, which is a rare psychiatric condition where a person genuinely believes they're turning into an animal. Historical records show people crawling on all fours, howling, even demanding raw meat. Then there's rabies, a disease that can make humans and animals aggressive, fearful of water, and prone to biting. Sound familiar? Even rare genetic disorders like hypertrichosis, which causes abnormal hair growth, might also have fueled the myth. And what about the moon? Well, folklore swears the full moon triggers transformation. But science says the gravitational pull is far too weak to affect human biology. Still, a big glowing moon sure makes for a perfect horror set piece. These ideas chipped away its superstition, but they never killed the legend. If anything, they gave storytellers new tools to play with. So, we're going to fast forward and we're going to enter the printing press and the age of the silver screen. The 19th century gave us Gothic novels like The Wolf Leader and later The Werewolf of Paris, which feeding a new appetite for dark romance and tragedy. But similar to the vampire, it was Hollywood that turned werewolves into pop cultural royalty. In 1941, The Wolfman set the template. A cursed bite, the tragic hero, and of course, the silver bullet. Its foggy forests and tortured transformations became the blueprint for decades.
Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright.
In the 80s, raised the fur-covered stakes. You had movies like The American Werewolf in London and The Howling, which stunned audiences with some jaw-dropping transformation effects, which still are legendary today and are just awesome to watch. And also, werewolves didn't purely stay scary. Think of Teen Wolf, starring Michael J. Fox. It was a comedic, fresh take on the werewolf lore. It was something, the gene was something passed down from generation to generation. Later, MTV did their own version of Teen Wolf, which had a different twist on the teen werewolf vibe. Its formula mixed teen drama, coming of age, and a number of other myths and legends along with the werewolves. And it really, they did that to keep audiences glued for multiple seasons. In the Underworld series, you had wars between wolves and vampires. Oh, and let's not forget a shirtless Jacob in Twilight. For the love, I need a creature that's not in that damn series. Video games like The Witcher and shows like Being Human can continue to reinvent the myth. Every generation finds its new way to howl. So why does the werewolf endure? Maybe because it speaks to something primal in us. We all have a beast inside. Those instincts we keep caged until, well, we don't. The werewolf is our wild side, given shape and teeth. It's about the fear of losing control, of hurting the ones we love. But it's also about power, the dream of shedding polite society and running free under the moon. That's why, from ancient Arcadia to modern streaming shows, the werewolf never dies. And that wraps our moonlit journey through the history of werewolves. From cursed kings and Viking warriors to silver bullets and CGI fur. The legend keeps evolving, just like the creatures themselves. If tonight's hunt got your blood pumping, hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a fellow monster lover. If you want updates on my writing, you can follow me on Facebook or TikTok at BradRicksAuthor. You can find copies of my novels wherever you like to buy books. But if you hop over to my website, bradricks.com, you can purchase signed copies of any of my novels. While there, also sign up for my newsletter. Remember, Night Crew Book 1 is currently available, and Book 2 comes out in November. I'm Brad Ricks, reminding you to stay out of graveyards after dark, question people who don't show up in mirrors, and keep your silver well sharpened, just in case. Until next time, keep your curtains drawn, your sense of humor sharp, and your blood inside your body. Thanks for listening.